What's up, everybody? We're on a podcast now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Lost Soul Aside one more time until we get, I guess, reviews or until the game comes out. It's a either-or type situation. If reviews drop early enough, I would love to cover them. I'm very interested just to see what people say about it. And then, hey, if they don't drop, if they drop the day of, that's probably something we could talk about for sure, right? But then the game's in our hands. Like it or not, or if the game's good or bad, we will have the game in our hands, and we'll be able to judge for ourselves regardless. So I just thought I would do, this pulse check. Look, I mean, I play a lot of different types of games, and, when we get to that launch week and we get to just a few days away, I genuinely, feel this way. I don't, put on an act or anything. I get really excited, and I think that's a good thing, for my kind of coverage and just me being around YouTube. I'm not faking it. I do love video games. I do still get excited about these things. I would actually be a problem if it was the reverse. So I've never been more excited for Lost Soul Aside. This is the week, though, and, we've said it before, but it's time to say it one more time. There is this surreal type feeling that we're even just getting in the first place. If you're getting it physically, that's my plan. I think actually more than anything for a game like Lost Soul Aside, right? If you're getting that game after all of this time and after all of this pain and all this patience, really, that a lot of us have had, I gotta do physical. I'm a game preservationist at heart. I have all these games physically. To get it digitally, I know I would want to get it physically down the road anyway. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been telling people as well. It's I would maybe wait, maybe, I don't know, am I in line for a review code? I highly doubt it. But I mean, if that happens, great. I still kind of want it physically, though, because I just want it to be in my hands. A game like this, really any game, I should probably get physical, but a game like this in particular, I think it'll be even more important. And then just to see what this game has got, what I mean? That's the thing I was saying in the why I'm getting video on Lost Soul Aside. I really, and as we gotten closer and, I've done review score predictions, I've tried to cover every base, for this game. I truly have. I really am hoping that this game can kind of be what I've predicted of it, because I feel good about my prediction. I want this game to be a game that excels at a couple things and then is average across the board after. I guess I don't want that, but I think that's a realistic expectation. I think to go in expecting game of the year, to go in expecting that all, say music, right? Visuals, gameplay, story, characters, everything. I just listed 5, but there's probably a few more I'm missing. To assume that all of them are game of the year type level, or even just excellent, feels probably unrealistic. Okay, I just feel that way in my heart. I feel like this is going to be a game that you play, and I mentioned it when I did my review score predictions. I think it's going to probably, at least my prediction, I think it's going to get somewhere in the mid to high 70s. I think I said 75 to 77. Now, if it gets lower, if it gets higher, if it gets higher, great. If it gets lower, look, I just feel, and I said it there, I'll say it here, I feel like a strong 7. Those games that get 7s or 7.5s on Metacritic, and you look back at it 5 years from now, and you say, how in God's name did that happen? I think of the game as a 9, 9.5. And there's several games that I can go back and just in my own head that, I think probably Prototype is one of my all-time, well, it is one of my all-time favorite games, but also the one that probably makes this point I'm trying to make. That's the classic, 7 out of 10, 7.5. I think that's kind of where it was on Metacritic. I look at that game as a masterpiece. I really do. I really freaking love that game. But that's kind of the thing, right? Does it excel at some things and are other things weaker? Yes. Do I put less stock into the weaker elements? I do. And that's probably what makes it higher in my head. And that's kind of what I'm expecting here. I really, really believe that this game can excel at a few different things, and if that's where you put your stock in, then you're going to feel really good about it. You know what I mean? And then, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, you look back and you say, it got a 73, but you know what? The gameplay was just unbelievably good. It was my favorite game to play that entire year. And yeah, maybe the other stuff wasn't as strong, but I really value that. So I think the game is just really good. That's the kind of game I think this is going to be. Maybe not just with gameplay, by the way, maybe with other things, but that's kind of my mindset going into it this week is just do a couple things. Do a couple things that I can look back at and say, yeah, that really, really worked. But I also just want this to work. It's such a cool feel-good story. Again, going back to that surreal feeling of it even releasing, there is something to that. Now, to be fair, okay, this is a charged product. They're charging money for it. This is not a free thing. I can only feel so happy for the man and his team that he's assembled throughout the years. I can only feel so happy so much. But you're charging for it, so it's not just, oh, well, they made a game, like whoop-de-doo. You know, that's such a huge, it is a huge accomplishment, to be honest with you. Making games is very hard, and this has gone through an insane path. But now, you know, there is judgment. There's standards. You know, if the game is an absolute train wreck, it doesn't matter what kind of feel-good story they've had up until this point. If the game sucks, well, that's going to kind of be an issue, right? I don't think that's going to happen, but just to kind of throw it out there, it does feel surreal. And I guess actually my point, going back to that, is like, okay, the majority of people that buy games really don't care about the lead up. Maybe they should. That's a valid thing. But I think many people just are experiencing the game, right? Is the game good or is it bad? And they buy it for that reason. I'm really hoping this game is very good. But, you know, either way, I'm so pumped for Friday. It's a big game. I think what the rumor, or maybe not even rumor, because these things tend to just be like accurate and people just know this ahead of time. I think 70 gigabytes, which is quite large, because I think Chronos: The New Dawn was leaked today. That's going to be like 25 gigs. So this is like 3 times in terms of like literal download size. It's like 3 times the size of Chronos, and Chronos is like a 15-20 hour game. Now, that's not how it works. It doesn't mean this game is triple as long. You know, audio, music actually takes up the most space, you know, when it comes to this stuff. So it could also, and I don't want to will this into existence, it could be like badly optimized. You know, a game could be 100 gigs and it could really only need 30, 40, 50, and it's just because they didn't put the work in on the back end to like make it work. So that could be a thing. I don't know, 70 gigs, whatever. I mean, I guess that's just like an info piece I wanted to throw into this video. I have the room. Okay, my PlayStation 5 is ready to freaking rock, and it comes out the day after Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I've talked about that before as well. That's a tough one because I'm really excited for both. I plan on getting both day one. To be honest with you, and it's probably, I'll be real, it's probably because Snake Eater is a remake. I do plan to go with Lost Soul Aside as like, when that game comes out, clear the calendar, clear the other games. Let's get through Lost Soul Aside first, and then, I mean, I think my goal or my plan is probably to do like Metal Gear Thursday or Wednesday night into Thursday, whatever, and then Friday, Lost Soul Aside, and probably just grind it out, just like play, you know, until that game is finished, and then go backwards and, you know, go to Metal Gear Solid. That's probably my plan. I'm excited to make videos on all these games, by the way, but we're here. We're finally here. So, you know, this was just a chance for me to kind of vent, kind of say my last thoughts and be at peace with this game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but just remember, I'll be having loads of videos once the game comes out. I'll have my own review, depending on how the story and characters like gets me. If it gets me, I'd love to do a spoiler cast. You know, I'll break down some characters. I like to do those kind of videos on the channel. So let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. We're finally here. Let's get excited, and I hope to see you all on the next one.